This is Kini News and I'm your host Prasad, bringing you today's top stories. For the past couple of weeks, Malaysians haven't been able to stop talking about timah. But I think it's time we talked about something else. Gambling. Shocking claims by Anwar Ibrahim. Opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim told Parliament today that slot machine gambling among Muslims in the country is on the rise. He claimed that tens of thousands of Muslims are gambling on slot machines in at least 62 clubs licensed with such facilities. However, he did not provide evidence for his claim.
Ini dilakukan dengan keadaan terbuka oleh kerajaan Melayu Islam sekarang ini. Dan nampak macam ada usaha melindungi fakta ini. Jadi kita nak tahu berapa jumlahnya, berapa slot machine, berapa anggota, berapa orang Melayu menjadi anggota yang terlibat kerana sekarang dalam rekod MySejahtera. Jangan nafikan kerana memang ada rekod MySejahtera tentang orang Melayu yang terlibat dalam kes ini. Dan ramai.
In view of this, he urged the Finance Ministry and the police to investigate his claims. In a separate matter, Anwar also zoomed in on several off-budget expenditures in Parliament today. While debating Budget 2022, Anwar urged the government to conduct these off-budget projects in a transparent and open manner. He named several projects, including the nationwide 5G rollout, the possible revival of the high-speed rail project, and attempts to privatize the Sultan Abdul Aziz Shah Airport in Subang. Citing 1MDB, which incurred 32.3 billion ringgit in debts to the government, he said the public may be forced to foot the bill for these projects in the future. Pulau Batu Puteh, or the theft of billions of ringgit. Which is more important? According to Mahathir, it seems like the government is more interested in the small island. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has criticized the priorities of Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob's government. This is after the government decided to set up a committee to investigate the decision to abandon a judicial review application against the Pulau Batu Puteh case at the International Court of Justice. The ICJ had in 2008 ruled that the disputed Pulau Batu Puteh belonged to Singapore. The Pakatan Harapan government under Mahathir decided in 2018 that it won't file a judicial review. Mahathir said the setting up of the committee was less about the merits of the case but an attempt to target him and tarnish his reputation. Speaking at a forum last night, he said convicts were given good treatment and allowed to travel overseas, but the promise kept on Pulau Batu Puteh has become an issue. He did not mention names but appeared to be referring to former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, who was convicted of the misappropriation of SRC international funds. Najib is appealing the case. Mahathir questioned the government's goal in focusing on a small island over many pressing issues. The government had on October 9th announced the setting up of a special task force to look into the judicial review application and whether the Harapan government was negligent in dropping the application. A book so destructive, the government fears it could undo the fabric of Malaysian society. This is why, even after 7 years, the government wants to keep it locked up. It was published 7 years ago, but the book Gay is Okay, A Christian Perspective could still jeopardize public order in Malaysia, according to Home Minister Hamzah Zainuddin. Through an affidavit filed against a legal challenge targeting the book ban, Hamzah claimed that the prohibitory order against the book was valid and in line with the Printing Presses and Publications Act. Hamzah said therefore there were no elements of irrationality and disproportionality in the ban. The minister and the Malaysian government are the two respondents in the judicial review filed by publisher Gerak Budaya Enterprise and the book's author. The judicial review applicants contended that the ban was irrational and disproportionate as no untoward incidents were triggered following the book's publication 7 years ago. On December 18th last year, Bernama reported that the Home Ministry gazetted a prohibition order effective November 27th for 2 publications, among them the book called Gay is Okay, A Christian Perspective under Section 7(1) of the Printing Presses Act. The Ministry's Chief Secretary Wan Ahmad Dahlan Abdul Aziz reportedly said the publication has been banned for content that might be detrimental to public order, morals and public interest. A BN Selangor leader has accused Bersatu of planning to split the Malay votes in Melaka, a claim Bersatu refutes. Selangor Bersatu Youth Exco member Haider Jamil has denied claims that the party is on a mission to split the Malay votes in favour of Pakatan Harapan in Melaka. This comes after Selangor BN Information Chief Hisham Jalil claimed that Bersatu was harbouring an agenda to split the Malay vote to prevent BN from winning. Responding to the claim, Haider claimed that UMNO shouldn't point fingers at Bersatu for splitting the Malay votes. He said the question is whether UMNO is still qualified to receive votes from the Malays, since they are the cause of the Melaka elections. Haider said now there are claims that backdoor negotiations are taking place between Bersatu, PAS and UMNO for the Melaka election, which would suggest that UMNO needs an alliance. He added this shows that UMNO is afraid to go into the polls alone. Previously, UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi told Malaysia Kini that the party would not work with Bersatu in the upcoming state election. Now we have a message from our sponsor. When we're back, find out why Lim Kit Siang thinks the authorities are practicing double standards.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
With PKR fined, Lim Kit Siang wants to know why Najib and Muhyiddin were not. PKR was slapped with a 10,000 ringgit fine for holding a ceramah without a crowd in Melaka. In light of this, veteran opposition MP Lim Kit Siang today accused the authorities of double standards. Lim pointed out that no action was taken against alleged crowd control violations for events involving former Prime Ministers Najib Abdul Razak and Muhyiddin Yassin 2 days ago. Yesterday, Melaka PKR received a 10,000 ringgit compound for operating a mobile stage in residential areas to speak to residents while they remained in their respective houses. PKR Information Chief Shamsul Iskandar Muhammad Akin said this was a pioneer project aimed at fulfilling COVID-19 protocols set by the Health Ministry. PKR also said it had notified the police in accordance with the Peaceful Assembly Act 2012. Meanwhile, Najib toured Melaka on Saturday. However, he insisted he was merely a visitor and was not conducting political activities. Muhyiddin was also in Melaka on the same day to visit several Gerai Prihatan Rakyat stalls selling subsidized staple goods at a steep discount. Rafizi Ramli has fired shots at Amanah for being open to accepting frogs from Melaka. PKR Vice President Rafizi Ramli has accused Amanah of pushing Pakatan Harapan to accept the assembly persons who defected in Melaka. This comes just days ahead of nomination day for the upcoming Melaka polls. Rafizi took a swipe at Amanah President Muhammad Sabu and Harapan Melaka Chairperson Adli Zahari. Rafizi said the excuse given by them was that the defectors would be a boost to Harapan. The former PKR lawmaker also urged Muhammad to speak up on the developments in Melaka as he claimed that Harapan chairperson Anwar Ibrahim has been the one targeted or expected to answer for any decisions made. Harapan has yet to announce its decision on cooperation with former UMNO and Bersatu assembly persons Idris Harun, Nur Azman Hassan and Nur Effendi Ahmad. But Anwar yesterday indicated that he is open to accepting the trio. Anwar argued that the trio was not part of the Sheraton move last year to oust Harapan from the federal government and instead wanted to return the mandate given by voters to the coalition. Last month, Harapan decided to reject former DAP member Nur Hizam Hazan Bakti as a coalition candidate in the state election. Ram Karpal appears to agree with Rafizi that accepting frogs should be the last thing on Harapan's mind. Bukit Gelugo MP Ram Karpal Singh has warned that accepting the four Melaka defectors as part of Pakatan Harapan would be a grave mistake. He says such a mistake by Harapan may result in the wrath of voters in the coming Malacca state election as well as GE15. He said this in response to Harapan chief Anwar Ibrahim's view that the 4 Malacca Assembly persons who defected to topple the BN-led state government should not be looked at the same way as those behind the Sheraton move last year. The DAP National Legal Bureau chairperson reiterated that Harapan must not accept the 4 defectors while at the same time pushing for anti-hopping laws. While Harapan announced it will not be fielding Nur Hizam Hassan Bhakti as a candidate, the coalition has not decided on the status of the 3 other defectors. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.